Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Like I said, Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
Listen, what's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. You already know what it is. We back with another one of them things. And listen, we ain't come here to play with the people. We're going to be discussing everything that you want to see, that you heard, that we're going to break it all down. I'm telling you, because, and while we on right now, news might break. We're going to be ready to break everything down. You know what time it is. I got my man All Access with me. There's a lot of things going on in Lakerland. Listen, Dex, what's happening, man? 51 million. He done opted out. Listen, there's a big things happening. Talk to us.
Yes, sir. First of all, salute to Flight Sports TV, the machine, voice of the voiceless, the people's champ, the hottest in these streets. Shout out to the panel as it reaches its premium peak. Shout out to the chat and all of its cacophony spewing out of the cracks and crevices of Flight Sports block. And big ups to everybody pulling up. Yes, we have a wealth and treasure trove of information concerning the aftermath of the 2024 draft, in which the most controversial draftee of all time, sitting in the bottom tier of the NBA draft, Bronny James, aka Bronny 9. That's going to be his new moniker. Bronny 9. Let's go. Los Angeles Lakers. Now, his dad, we all know, has been swarmed with controversy since his arrival in the NBA in 2003, nearly 21 years ago. And it's continued. I don't know if anybody in all of sports history, maybe we can lean to Muhammad Ali. But outside of Muhammad Ali himself, the OG GOAT, I don't know if anybody has had more controversy during their tenure in their professional sport. The pathway to grace and peace and serenity for LeBron James is far and far away. I'm saying, Flight, when does it stop? LeBron James opt out of his mega million contract, leaving $51 million on the table. Why would a sound businessman do something of that nature, leaving a half of $100 million per on the table to opt out and flirt with unrestricted free agency?
It don't make no sense.
Now, Flight, listen, we know LeBron James, after all he done for Bronny James to help filter him away from the negative noise and coaching him to deal with all of the kerfuffle and controversy and cavalcation surrounding his upgrowing into becoming a National Basketball Association alumni. And in that journey, Bronny James was living his dream. So with Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, agreeing to draft Bronny James at 55th, which is the most controversial 55th draftee of all time, if not the most popular, because I don't know when since 1977 I remember who was drafted at 55. I mean, Flight, this is a glorious moment. So for LeBron James to opt out, do you think he would abandon his son after his son cried on national TV being drafted by the Lakers? You think he would just up and abscond that moment? No. He's only opting out, Flight, for the mere reason to help the Lakers restructure his contract so they can secure more talent. Because Jackson Hayes opt in, D'Angelo Russell opt in, so now the Lakers restrict has come to the forefront because they're trying to avoid reaching that second apron, because right now they have surpassed the first apron by measly a little bit. So it's up to LeBron to save the day for the Los Angeles Lakers if they want to secure more talent to go around LeBron James and Anthony Davis and company in order to capture their first 18th, as we witnessed Boston in theirs. Like,
yeah, man. Like I said, if all the people that's just tuning in, everybody's reporting this news all over the airways, Shams, Woj, everybody. So we're gonna be looking to see what's happening with this situation. But you know, LeBron James has dominated this moment. He pretty much trademarked this whole free agency situation we about to witness right before our very eyes. LeBron made it real famous. He made it a worldwide stage. The off season damn near more entertaining than the regular season, you know. So I mean, it's crazy. So I think we up for some more fireworks. We're gonna also break down some news involving D'Angelo Russell, who I believe is a major domino for the Los Angeles Lakers, because there's a lot of dominoes that could take place. JJ Redick is in place, and goddamn it, I like the swagger coming from JJ. Pause. You know, he got the new age, you know, swag that I think is going to be successful, you know, because we can't keep seeing these retreads. You know, you got to get the right retread, you know, and that's been hard lately, Dex, you know. And I like how they have rolled the dice here. They got Bronny in the fold. There's no way in God's green earth LeBron James will be looking elsewhere. I got LeBron James coming back. You know, he's sitting out here making tweets and all kind of stuff. I think he's on his way back on a massive deal. He's gonna finish his career in LA. Y'all treated him real nice, and let's see what happens. At this point, are y'all? I don't know how y'all gonna win a championship, but we're gonna figure that out throughout. But I like the new energy that's floating around Los Angeles right now. What do you think about this whole D'Lo situation? Because he's opted in. They're talking about trading him as well. The Lakers are exploring D'Angelo Russell trades as we speak. What's going to happen with him? Because they're going to be very aggressive in the coming days.
yeah, first of all, let's make it official. Wop, 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 wop. Okay. And D'Angelo Russell, that is an intriguing factor right there, because the Lakers really was hoping that he opted out so they could maneuver a little bit within the salary cap, because they're trying to prevent that hard cap and things of that nature. So you got D'Angelo Russell, you got Vanderbilt, which has not really been heard from because, you know, he was hurt for the lengthiness of the season, and that is our best perimeter defender at the moment. Gabe Vincent came on at the tail end of the season, and he is one of our premier perimeter defender and trying to shut down all attacks from beyond the arc and right around that area. So there's a lot of talk going on with these individuals, but D'Lo is the main talk because he's making more money than the others. Rui Hachimura also came up, and a microscopic observation of maneuvering, and if JJ Redick could use him in a way that he seems best, because JJ Redick has been really gloating about Rui Hachimura and his skill set. So we're going to see what kind of adjustment that makes. D'Lo, on the other hand, I think he's going to be traded. I have a strong feeling that Rob Pelinka wants to open that space to a thorough point guard. I believe Connect Four, Dalton Connect, really makes D'Angelo Russell expendable, because he's a floor spacer and he's an older draftee that can come in and provide LeBron and AD the adequate space they need to operate on that rectangular parquet floor. So 94 feet of basketball, JJ Redick will have to coach. And I think he will be coaching without D'Angelo Russell being in purple and gold. Like,
Right. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm also hearing news about Max Christie. Are you familiar with him? They talking about bringing him back as well. If everything, I'm hearing y'all going to be deep in the second apron as well. I'm just now getting up to speed on how these new contracts and how all the shit, they done switched up a lot of different things, so the lake is going to get very expensive. That's what I'm looking at. But I do think that Rob Pelinka and these guys, they're going to figure out a way to trade him. I heard the Brooklyn Nets was interested in D'Lo, but that was before the Mikal Bridges deal. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be teams that's going to get this guy D'Angelo Russell. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Jessica, Sky, Thunder, all y'all in here. Shout out to Rap God. We live right now. We got breaking news involving LeBron James. He has opted out of his $51 million contract right off the heels of Bronny James being drafted. So there's a lot of different things happening right now. Now it's all about getting this roster developed and switched out or swapped out. And we watching it right before our very eyes. So we're going to see what the Brooklyn Nets do, if they want to go after Russell, if it's another team. I can't imagine they're going to let him go somewhere out west. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. Shout out to Slim, all y'all. I know it's big news. We had a big trade involving the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think about that? Because I think that impacts the Lakers, Dex. You have a new beast out west. What do the Lakers have to do to combat some of these teams that's retooling?
yeah, first of all, congratulations to DeJounte Murray for being the newest member of the New Orleans Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, as we would reiterate. I think they found the young point guard since the absence of Lonzo Anderson Ball. And this point guard is a thorough. He's an all-star. He's going to be matched and playing with another brutal minister version of a monstrosity of a human being and Zion Williamson. And this collaboration between the two, when you add on Not on Herb and Trey Murphy, it's going to be spectacular. I think Brandon Ingram will not be a part of this reiteration of the New Orleans Pelicans. I think he will be seeking greener pastures, and hopefully Brandon can land on a team that can pin him in an all-star appearance, whether East or West, as well as playoff, because we want to see Brandon Ingram in playoff mode. We saw him one time in playoff mode against the number one seed, the Phoenix Suns, a few years ago, and Brandon Ingram damn sure held his own. So based on that auditioning in that playoff series where they won 2 games against the number one seed and end up getting eliminated 4-2, I think Brandon Ingram will be looking, like I've been saying for the past, 2.5 years, to South Beach. I think he got his agents and his realtor out there looking for prime real estate on South Beach, and I think he will be a perfect fit for the Miami Heat, if not the Philadelphia 76ers, because I think they're going to move on from Tobias Harris, Long Island finest, and try to plug someone in. If they don't get Paul George, I think Brandon Ingram could be their secondary option. Flight.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. What about C.J. McCollum? Are they looking to bring him back too? What does that mean? Is he available now?
Well, I think CJ McCullough is cool. I think he's definitely available, and I think a good place for CJ will be amongst the veterans up in Golden State because they want to relinquish themselves from Chris Paul because that was a dud. It didn't work out. Chris Paul didn't help them one iota. So I think CJ McCullough is still young enough and shifty enough and still have his bag with him to go up to Golden State to be a plug-in point guard, and where he doesn't have to do as much because Steph Curry is still dancing in the garden in his latter part of his prime. So Steph Curry is still a potential 27 points a night scorer with the efficiency that he shoots with, and one of the best shooting point guards of all time, if not the best. So there's a lot of shifting that's going to be going on in the landscape of the NBA, and CJ McCullough will be a very nice fit up in Golden State. You heard it first here at Flight Sports TV.
So with this new Murray trade that has happened, are you concerned as a Laker fan? Do Laker fans need to be worried? Have the Pelicans overtaken the Lakers?
Well, first of all, the New Orleans Pelicans is a very, very unique kind of team. And as long as you have Zion Williamson in uniform, and I'm talking about a healthy Zion Williamson in uniform, you have a chance at reaching at least the conference finals. Now, you have to pair Zion with a point guard like Murray, who can throw the loop, the alley oop, the lob. He can penetrate. He's a tall guard. He can defend, and he doesn't turn the ball over much. Plus, you can get scoring from DeJounte Murray. So, and he's a young player, and he fits the timeline and growth and development of a young New Orleans Pelicans, where you have, like I said, one of the future cores of the NBA, Zion, Murray, Murphy, Hurd, and you still have Jose Alvarado coming in as a caboose to terrorize any guard that you sick him on, right? GTA, that's what he's known of. His name has been spiraling all over the internet as far as his tenacious play at the guard position, where he will pick you up 94 feet and have no problem with it, and will try to exhaust you to the brink of collapse when he's on the court, harassing, vexing, annoying, and irritating the opponent's point guard. So you have a real spectacular possible team with the New Orleans Pelicans. It's just that without Zion, it just seemed like they were just average, they was beatable. But when Zion is on that court full force healthy, there's a fear factor that come along with that thunderous presence of Zion Williamson. Because like I said, he can control a game and he can win a game because he's basically one of the most unstoppable forces in the league right now, besides Jokic and Giannis and Joel Embiid, the OG behemoth of a human being.
Well, we got to throw LeBron James in there too. I think LeBron James, when he's on, he's probably one of the most unstoppable players in the league. But that's, like I said, we're gonna figure out what's happening. But I do think the Lakers have to make a move now because it was hard for them to get in the postseason before. It may be getting even harder now. So let's find out. Do you think there's any moves the Lakers can make that could possibly bring in another all-star? Do they need to bring in another all-star, or do you think they could possibly get a couple more role players and they'll be all right?
Well, as with their current roster as it is constructed, it's going to be very difficult to get an all-star to come in for MLE, which is a mid-level exception, and especially for a non-tax mid-level exception. Lakers going to really have about $5 to $6 million to work with, unless LeBron takes a haircut and give him a hometown discount. So him opting out is a possibility that is the precursor of a contract reconstruction, and he could give them a discount and take a nice little haircut. I mean, for crying out loud, his son is there. So if you want to play with your son, how bad do you want to play with your son? Are you going to put money over playing with your son, or you're going to, cooperate and reintegrate yourself back in purple and gold, which I think the latter is more truth than the former. I think he comes back, he reconstructs his contract, he gives the Lakers a deal because he's a billionaire bouncing the basketball. When have we ever seen that? Never. So LeBron has made so much history as an NBA talent. It's just unbelievable, right? And so now, how do you cap this off, LeBron James? Give the Lakers a nice settling contract negotiation, and where they can add a little more talent. I don't know if it'll be all-star talent. It could be fringe all-star talent to help the Lakers get back to where they need to be. And Flight, to thoroughly answer your question, Rob Pelinka needs to acquire a true center. He don't have to be an all-world center, but he just have to be a serviceable center that is productive enough to keep the cheat off of Anthony Davis and also be able to open pathways and lanes for LeBron James and company to drive in the basketball and put a lot of pressure on the interior defense of their opponent. Because the Lakers, in putting pressure on the restricted area, leaves a lot to be desired. Because we know Anthony Davis do not want to bump and grind, aka R. Kelly style, in that restricted area. Anthony Davis wanted to be more so of a Joel Embiid player, go down when he wants to and come out when he wants to, because we know AD is a three-level scorer and an exceptional talent for the Los Angeles Lakers. Flight.
So right now we got DeJounte Murray on the move. What does this mean for Trae Young? Obviously, it seems like what I thought. Maybe this is the reason why Alex Sarr wanted no parts of Atlanta. They clearly look like they're headed for a rebuild. Is Trae Young good? But pardon me, is Trae Young going to become available, and do the Los Angeles Lakers have a chance of getting him?
Well, I think Trae Young wants to be an all-star, most definitely. I know he got in by the chinny chin hair of the commissioner based on injury, but he wants to be a thorough all-star. And with DeJounte Murray leaving that core that the Atlanta Hawks thought they could build on, then that leaves open Trae Young to basically stat pad and to put up ungodly numbers in a Hawk uniform if he chooses to stay. Now, keep in mind, Flight, that DeJounte Murray and Trae Young share the same agency. So if one of them left, then one of them possibly could stay. And maybe until the trade deadline, and then maybe Trae Young can move off of being an Atlanta Hawk member. But right now, I think he might be stuck with Atlanta right now, because the only team that he did desire to go to was the Los Angeles Lakers. Potentially the Phoenix Suns, but they got Bradley Beal there, so that door has been shut. So the Los Angeles Lakers was basically the only team that was really starving for a point guard of that material and Trey Young. But now they got Connect Four and D'Lo opt in. It could be a trade with D'Lo, Trey Young, and a few others going over to Atlanta for the to acquire the talent of Trey Young. But that's a far-fetched possibility because, like I said, the Lakers also are strapped. They don't want to go into the second apron. Right now, there are, I think, $800,000 over the first apron, and that's manageable. So if you don't move the correct pieces to acquire a healthy contract from a all-star, then the Lakers are going to be stuck with they stuck with until the trade deadline.
Yeah, we got breaking news right now in the NBA, especially involving the Lakers. More news is coming out. Jackson Hayes, he picks up his $2.5 million contract option. If you are unfamiliar, he is basically his former teammate was JJ Redick up in New Orleans. And I like when JJ was up there in New Orleans, actually. He played pretty well, even with Lonzo. So Jackson Hayes is going to be running it back. Let's see if he's going to get an increased role with JJ Redick being the coach because of all of these dynamics. So the Lakers signed Hayes to a 2-year, $4.6 million deal as a free agent last offseason, and the second year was a player option. So let's see what the Lakers do with him. What you think about Jackson Hayes? Is it going to be an increased, portfolio for him this year, or do you think that he's just irrelevant?
Well, one thing about Jackson Hayes, he's a wild guy, right? He's kind of like a LaMelo Ball, but without the talent. He's a wild guy. We know what happened to him with the LAPD as he crashed with the LAPD and he survived. Unfortunately for him, maybe because he's light skinned, so the LAPD took a little easy on him. Because normally you don't come out with all your faculties dealing with the LAPD the way that Jackson Hayes did. So the Lakers still hired him, even though that infraction was mitigated and Jackson Hayes was not found guilty of any charges, if I'm not mistaken. I like Jackson Hayes because he's a wild guy. He's a perfect LA guy in his role. Jackson Hayes did not disrupt anything. Jackson Hayes was an asset. I don't know his numbers, but I think did he average double figures? If not, he was close to it, right?
Sure about that.
And
what you mean?
And I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they get a kick out of watching Jackson Hayes run up and down that court like a banshee. And then he's athletic enough to dump you in a barrel of apples. So I think JJ Redick knows the tendencies of Jackson Hayes and know where he needs to be fit in the Lakers lineup. And I think his rotation will allow him to have a little more minutes than what Darvin Ham was giving him. And so Jackson Hayes is going to be fun to watch, especially when you have Connect Four out there being a floor spacer. Then Jackson Hayes have a little more territory to roam in flight.
Yeah, let's see. The Lakers, they got a long way to go before they could get to the top of the Western Conference. There's a lot of teams that have made moves, for now and for the future. You see what Minnesota just did. So I think it's time for the Lakers. They got to do something. And what I heard JJ Redick speak about is the players around LeBron and AD. He said he's going to use Anthony Davis as a hub. So it sounds like they're going to be playing through Anthony Davis. Let's see how much LeBron James takes away from all of that. But AD was healthy a lot last year. So let's see if that continues, because that's been one of his critiques throughout his career. So let's see. Shout out Jessica. She said Lakers got a long way to go. They do.
Just because you hop on here. Once you hop on here, Jessica, give us your opinion on what done transpired through the draft and free agency so far, and how you feel about the New Orleans Pelicans picking up Javante Murray. I think your perspective will be needed up here.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of moves. Like some can go down right now. That's how crazy it is. We might hear a blockbuster happening, something crazy. Trey Young headed to Miami or something like that, or so, I don't know. But I like the activity that's going on. Charlotte making moves, Knicks making moves. I mean, a lot
Wait,
of
wait, whoa,
teams.
whoa, 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 Flight. Before you go to the Knicks, because you know the Knicks is explosive. Please go back to Charlotte, because somehow, some reason, you always try to uh, institute Charlotte Hornets into some real basketball. So why? Why are
it's
you mentioning Charlotte? What moves has Charlotte made besides cutting Curry and JT Thorpe?
I like those moves, but listen, there's a new regime going on right now. We got to give these guys a chance. I like what I'm seeing from Peterson. We got the new coach, Charles Lee, rolling in the house. They look like they trimming off some of the fat. The people are leaving that need to go, and they looking to bring in high carry. The guys I like the draft picks coming in, and it's all about health. If LaMelo Ball is healthy, I believe the Hornets are going to the playoffs next year. Mark my words.
Okay, so you saying they're bringing in high character guys. Is Reggie Jackson a high character guy to you? Do you know anything about him?
Well, listen, yes, shout out to Reggie Jackson. We got to understand this. Reggie Jackson just came off from the Denver Nuggets. They need a lot of these guys to come through and shake up the culture. You got Grant Williams there. Who else? Somebody need to help him. So Grant Williams, and you got this guy. You got to bring in people that actually was around some winning. To sprinkle in some of this around these people. Brandon Miller want to win. I just seen in his swag last year he wasn't too happy about the losing. But he needs. But at the end of the day, if Lamelo's not healthy, this whole thing is going to shits anyway. So he just got to stay healthy, and if he's not healthy, I think that's a whole nother conversation. We
What do you
want
mean he's not healthy during the season or coming into the season?
listen. Period. I believe Lamelo should be ready to go. He ready to go now. But I'm not sure if he's. I doubt that's gonna happen. In terms, we just it's all about sustaining. Lamelo not get hurt throughout the season. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 games. I mean like a drastic out. Like it's been going on. We're not expecting him to play all 82 games, but most of it.
Right,
But
LaMelo should show some longevity this season, for sure,
yes,
right?
it should be no injury that takes him out for no long period of time. Nothing,
Right.
nothing
So
catastrophic.
now you was mentioning the Knicks, but I just want to get your understanding on the Lakers. How do you feel about the Los Angeles Lakers with all of their juggling with their contracts and LeBron opting out, the drafting of the 17th overall pick and Dalton Connect and the 55th overall pick and the Bronny James? Because you sprinkled a little bit here and there during the streams, but right now we got you front and center. How do you feel about the Lakers and all the coagulation surrounding them?
I don't think it's enough. Like I said, it all depends on what's the ultimate trajectory. If it's a championship, there's a whole lot long way to go. But change is coming around Los Angeles, just like I said for Charlotte. Uh, JJ Redick, shit sounds good. So but let's see what happens. I think y'all gonna make some trades because that's all LeBron, Rich Paul, and these guys love to do. So I think y'all gonna try to dominate free agency if y'all could. If y'all could steal somebody, yeah, y'all gonna try to pull it off. So I'm looking at guys like Trey Young. Look, y'all hyping up the kid Dalton Connect, right? LeBron James would trade him in a heartbeat. You understand? So I'm just letting y'all know right now. I love the hype. I love what's good. They ain't gonna mess with Bronny, but if they is listen. Rich Paul is working when you don't think he's working. They working. Go ahead. They're hyping
Like,
up this guy like he
like,
the second coming. Go ahead.
like you said, LeBron was going to trade the 17th overall pick, even though it was a steal. So you think they hyping Dalton Connect up
Listen,
to offer him for sacrifice?
listen.
So, like, are you serious? They're going to break up the hillbilly backcourt in the Lakers with Dalton Connect
Listen,
and Austin Reeves? Those hillbillies deserve to be there. Flight. What are you talking about?
listen, if LeBron James could get his hands on an all-star, they'll pull the trigger right now. So it's gonna happen. So just they hyping them up. They know what they're doing. They did this with a lot of players. This guy hasn't even played a game yet, and they talking about all this, and that. JJ is already drawing up plays, and this and that. Like this is a joke. They know what they're doing. So if
Three,
they
three hillbillies. You got J.J. Redick,
okay.
hillbilly, right? You got Dog Connect, hillbilly, and you got Austin Reeve, hillbilly. But all three of these guys are born in states that fly the Confederate flag with pride. So now they're in a liberal town, a liberal state, in a liberal county in Los Angeles, and they are the talk of the town besides Bronny James and LeBron James. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, basketball has flipped in Los Angeles.
Well, Bronny is safe. They ain't gonna mess with him. So I think he'll be around as long as LeBron James is around. So but then I think LeBron is gonna get him acquiesced to the league to make him a serviceable basketball player. So a lot of people's concerns, it's just like I said. It's like if you don't know, it's like riding a bike, or whatever you do. If you don't know what you're doing, does somebody throw you in the middle of the fire? Shit, I mean, you're gonna eventually do better every single day. So if you think Bronny's not an NBA player, if he's like, well, they just throwing his ass in the fire, So eventually, he got to come up to speed. It's just like you. If eventually they throw, you might be bad for a little, but eventually you'll start coming to speed. Okay, this is what we do. That's what's gonna happen. So he just got done a good favor, but let's see what happens. But if LeBron James retires and he's not up to speed, he's keep coming back to the G League, then it's gonna be all she wrote, but LeBron gonna do everything in his power to get him right.
And Flight, before you go into your New York Knicks, I know trauma will pursue, but before you go into your New York Knicks, let me congratulate once again the New Orleans Pelicans for acquiring a real serious player in Javonte Murray. This is no Thomas Sanarowski. This is no Gary Templeton. This is none of those, the Shaft. You follow what I'm saying? These are real weed. He's a real weed. And Javonte Murray, I think he's going to really help the Pelicans propel themselves and to be really contenders, especially with that young core. They could be the new iteration of the Oklahoma City Cardiac Kids Thundercats down there in the bayou in the Gulf of Mexico, right? Because when you really look at the New Orleans Pelicans, they already got a very good coach in Willie Green. Okay, all they need is David Griffin to move his snake oil salesman ass out the way and let Willie Green do his thing. I'm not sure who their GM now, because I don't know if Trajan Langdon's still there, because there was talk about him taking the Detroit job or whatever. I'm not sure the intricacies surrounding his involvement with the New Orleans Pelicans. But if David Griffin can get out the way and allow those New Orleans Pelicans to hearken to the voice of Willie Green, I think there'll be a serious team fight. And I think this time around, they have an opportunity to go really toe-to-toe with the Minnesotas of the world and the Dallas Mavericks of the world and the OKC Thunders of the world, who was the #1 seed in the West last season. So if everything shake out right for New Orleans, because I don't think they're done, but if everything shake out right for New Orleans, and with that young core who is hungry to be on that floor and to justify their existence on that 94 feet rectangle in the Smoothie King, I think New Orleans is going to be something to reckon with. And far as the Lakers being compared to the New Orleans Pelicans, I think the Lakers are a little behind them. Even though the Lakers made the playoff and they got eliminated in the first round, and New Orleans didn't make out, they didn't come out of the play-in, and that's only because of Zion's absence. If Zion was present, the New Orleans Pelicans could have been shifting around the second round and sniffing at a Western Conference championship appearance if Zion was remained healthy with that New Orleans Pelicans, because Trey Murphy was coming into his own. And then you got Jordan. Oh, my God. See, people are not even talking about Jordan maturing another year going into the NBA season. So you gotta go have a mature Jordan Hawkins and a Trey Murphy the second, and you're going to have a healthy Zion with Javonte Murray and Herb Jones. Javonte Murray and Herb Jones. I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, but Javonte Murray and Herb Jones, they're going to be scary out there. They're lengthy, they're spindly, and they're shifty when it comes to playing defense, especially around the perimeter, because this is what the NBA has become, a perimeter game. If you can win beyond the arc, then that would take you far. But New Orleans got two stoppers at that position. And so that position of attack will be the other team weakness because of the Herb Jones, not on Herb, and Javonte Murray, former All-Star with the Atlanta Hawks flight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans, man. I love what they're doing. We're gonna figure it out. I like Willie Green. Their situation is similar to the Charlotte Hornets as well with health. New Orleans should have been eventually a number one seed out west, top three. They should be in there with Minnesota. What's going on with Oklahoma. We should be talking about New Orleans like that, but we haven't because these guys keep getting hurt. They're never healthy at the same time. This guy Brandon's never healthy, and then Zion is never healthy. It's just a complete mess, and they completely has robbed the city of New Orleans. And no matter what the hell happens, they got DeJounte, they got this guy. If Zion Williamson goes down, it's all she wrote again. So I mean, that's the key. So they got to figure it out. So it looks good. It sounds good. And if everybody is
Have
healthy,
Zion spoken on this?
no,
Have Zion spoken
it's
and
not.
welcome Javonte Murray?
No, I mean, not yet. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a press conference and all that. I know that DeJounte posted something on social media. He's happy to go down to New Orleans, and it just didn't work out in Atlanta. It is what it is. Him and Trey didn't work out. I don't. Trey
Well, it
Young.
might not. It might not be Trey. It could be Snyder. Remember they got a new coach. So at first it was playing under McMillan, and then Snyder comes after McMillan departure, and maybe that didn't work out because maybe Snyder reminds him too much of Popovich. So we really don't know the story until we hear the story. I wouldn't say it all lies on Trey Young, and Trey Young is responsible. It could be the way Snyder approached the offense and defensive sets for the Atlanta Hawks to cause Javonte Murray to want to depart from that team.
Yeah, like I said, it was time. Well, we're gonna find out. But like I said, I think the Knicks they still ahead of a lot of different teams right now. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys are into professional wrestling, but Brunson and Halliburton got into it last night on SmackDown. It was it's off. Shout out to Triple H. That was in Madison Square Garden too, and they had to cash in on that big moment. So it's unbelievable to see that these guys understand, what the hell is going on, and they able to provide something during the off season. I think that's a rivalry that could last, for an extended period of time with the Pacers and, obviously the New York Knicks. The Knicks, if they were healthy, they would have went to the conference finals, and who knows what they would have did if they was completely healthy. With Randall and everybody, they might have went to the finals. But right now, what I'm telling you right now is that the New York Knicks may very well be in the NBA Finals next year. They building a team that's gonna lock down the Boston Celtics. They almost reminding you of what happened, back in the days with the Knicks. The old school Knick teams. Where it was defense first, and that's what they're doing. I'm telling, man, it's crazy. It just don't make no sense. A lot of these teams right now, the Knicks gonna be locking their ass down. Y'all getting all these offensive players. The Knicks, they're gonna shut it down.
Here goes that Nick trauma. Gag me for crying out loud. Here goes that Nick trauma. Listen, the Knicks did improve, Flight, but please don't conflate and integrate the big head blowhard of Stephen A. Smith Kool-Aid in here. Please do not drink the Stephen A. Smith Kool-Aid about the New York Knicks. Okay, we've seen the New York Knicks make moves before. They acquired Carmelo Anthony. They drafted Porzingis. They had Raymond Felton. I mean, we've seen this. They had Amari Stoudemire. We've seen the New York Knicks do this before. This is not the first time the New York Knicks have acquired real talent. But can Thibodeau stir this talent to the degree that they frustrated of not being champions? That is the question. Put it on Thibodeau. Everything right now lies on Thibodeau. No more Leon Rose. No more the owner. Well, I forgot his name. Start with a D. Dolan. No more blame there. It
Nope.
all sits on the no neck of Tommy T, who treated me like dried up doo-doo when I tried to interview him. So screw Tommy T and screw his methodology and his schemes to try to get the New York Knicks into position to win. I have no qualms with the New York Knicks. I'm only beefing with Tommy T, Flight.
Man, like I said, well, like Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks are embodying his defensive prowess. So let's see if all of that continues. And now you got to be honest with yourself, Dex. Man, they bringing back OG. They just got Bridges. That's a lot going on. You know, from all accounts, and hell, Julius still might be the best player on the team, and he's on his way back. They don't look like they're gonna move him. What the hell is going on with the Knicks, man? In all
It's scary.
seriousness, I mean,
Oh man, it's
that
scary. I ain't gonna lie, Flight. It's scary. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a New York Knicks hater. I just have a beef with Tommy T. That's it. And he just happened to be our general. But when you got that talent and you coagulate it and coalesce it into a solid core, Flight, that's dangerous. But I mean, Boston's already at 18, so for me, whoop-de-doo, right? They already at 18. Now, if they would have did this a year prior, I would probably be on the Knicks bandwagon so they could halt the Boston trailblazing to 18. But Boston already there. What the New York Knicks going to do, I don't know. Maybe prevent 19? Hopefully. But I just think the New York Knicks have to get it on the floor and get it together before I can really high praise them. I gotta observe them in motion, and once I observe them in motion, probably preseason, then I can say, "Whoa, this team right here is scary." Like I did the Bulls when they came together for that one season. You saw in preseason, like, "Whoa, this is something right here." You know what I'm saying? They clicking on all cylinders. Let's see if the Knicks could replicate that kind of congeniality and soar to the top of the fanfare and eliminate Boston from reaching 19. Because right now, Boston, it just looked like a runaway freight train in the East. I don't see anything preventing them, not even Philly. Now, if Philly gets Paul George, now that could be a clog. That could be a clog in the system, right? If they were able to secure Paul George, and then that also can thwart the New York Knicks ascension if the Philadelphia Sixers secure a Paul George and not Golden State.
the Knicks, they just got to make sure they got enough offense, you know, on the floor. That's their problem, you know. And I'm just thinking about it. Have they solved that? Because I know they're gonna be able to lock people down, but are they gonna go through these cold stretches? You know, sometimes that happens with the Knicks, where they don't score for the next 5 minutes or something like that. They can't get a bucket or something. Brunson is just tapped out, and nobody else could score. So hopefully Julius is healthy and he could fix some of that, because I think he's a guy who could score no matter what. You know, I think he's unstoppable. You know, but if we got all of this help around Julius, I think that he could go into a much improved role where it's not all on him, where teams can't just load up like he was going through before. So I think they need to roll the dice with Julius one more time, especially if you're not bringing back a superstar. You know, I wouldn't trade him for some supplementary pieces.
Yes, like that's very good insight right there. I was going to elaborate on that, but you stole my thunder. But that's all good, right? Teamwork is the dream work. Julius Randle, a healthy Julius Randle will alleviate a lot of unwanted attention, and pressure on Jalen Brunson. Then you added Mikal Bridges. So I think Jalen Brunson is going to have a lot of wiggle room to roam the court and score whenever he needs to score and take a chill pill whenever he needs to take a chill pill. Because with the adding of Mikal Bridges and bringing back a healthy Julius Randle, Tom Thibodeau will have the luxury to rest Jalen Brunson, and we won't witness the horrific optics of Jalen Brunson winded with his hands on his knees, down 3 with a minute and something to go. We won't have to witness that coming up this year, watching the New York Knicks play, if Tommy T is able to move the pawns, the bishops, the rooks, the queen, and the king on the chessboard of Madison Square Garden, the mecca of it all, right? So if that is what we expect, then Jalen Brunson will be an all-star, because he was going to be able to score at will, he's going to be able to hold his stamina, and we will not see Jalen Brunson on the brinks of collapse. Also, you're going to have Josh Hart coming off the bench, and all of the energy that he brings, and what an dynamic figure with Josh Hart, and the mysteriousness of his hustle, his Johnny Hustle type behavior out there on the hardwood. So you got a lot of integral and important pieces on this chessboard inside the mecca for Tommy T to move around. I'm just hoping with all of this aggregated talent that Tommy T is not in over his head, because he's not used to this kind of talent. He's used to 1 or 2 talents. He's used to 1 or 2 talents, but not 3, 4, and 5 talented basketball players on the court at one time, Flight.
Yeah, you're right about that. What I do like about Mikal Bridges is he was in Brooklyn and he got experience basically being that number 1 guy. So I think that's going to help out when he comes to the Knicks. He's going to be able to, you're going to be able to give the ball to him and he could get a bucket, So that's what the Knicks are going to need, because they done traded 5 first-round picks. This guy better be able to come here and do something. I don't want no cold streaks. I understand the Villanova connection, but this was an expensive trade, and the Knicks fans are kind of reluctant to bring that up because of the whole family connection and the friends and all this other shit. So at the end of the day, if it go up in smokes, ain't nobody gonna be happy, especially Knicks fans, and they're gonna go directly to this Villanova connection, and it ain't gonna be too nice. So they got
Philly has invaded. Philly collegiate athletics have invaded the Big Apple. So you got a Nova invasion in the Big Apple. But one thing I can say about Nova Rocks, one thing, Flight, I can vouch for Nova Rocks is that they are well-schooled and mannered basketball players who are athletic to some degree or another. So Jay Wright over there at Nova, pushing out these solid stones. They might not be the hardest stone in rating 1 to 10 in the hardest stones in the world. Diamond is number 1, but they right up there as being granite stones with Villanova. So this is why I call them Nova Rocks, because a lot of these players that come out of Villanova, they're hardcore, and that's what Tommy T needs. But at the same time, these Villanova players, they want to win, because I believe every last Villanova player that's on that team have won a championship in college. So they know what it feels like popping the bottles, and they want to bring that to the Big Apple. So Tommy T better not screw this up, because Tommy T has never won anything. So Tommy T, I think he could be on the hot seat with the ownership and the executives of the New York Knicks front office, by them expenditures and these high contracts. Tommy T better make it work.
So this why it all roads lead back to the Los Angeles Lakers, man. So in your opinion, how far are the Lakers away from getting in these conversations?
To be honest with you, all the Lakers need is a center, a real center that do center shit. You know what I'm saying? We need a center to do center shit. That's it. We don't need him to be roaming around the 3-point line and looking for his mid-range shot. We need him to set hard picks, roll to the basket, dunk the basketball, rebound ferociously, and kick it out to the known point guard that's on the floor, giving AD and LeBron James ample opportunity to attack at various angles on the court, whether from the dunker position, the elbow, or from the distance. Whatever imminent attack that the Lakers draw up from Coach Redick, that center need to be an integral part of making this scheme executional. That's all the Lakers need. If they can find that, I'm quite sure Time Lord is out there somewhere. I don't know if the Lakers want him. I don't know if they feel he's tall enough, but he could represent the perfect, and I'm talking about Robert Williams. He represents a perfect fit in space for the Lakers because he has already been on a team where he was not wanting for the ball. All he was doing the janitor and the window washing work for the Boston Celtics. And he didn't work out in Sacramento, but if the Lakers can get him, if he's healthy enough, I know he was dragging that knee. He had the same issue with Lonzo Ball, but he played through it, and it could have cost him his future. I don't know how sturdy that knee is, but if he's healthy enough, the Lakers should grab him, insert him, and move one of these so-called centers out the way, right? Maybe for Ruri, I don't know. But I like Jackson Hayes, but maybe Jackson Hayes might have to go in that if we was able to secure that talent from I think he's Sacramento. I think he's Sacramento, or if he's still there or not. But that was his last destination for Time Lord Robert Williams. Now, they tried with Jones, and it didn't work out for some reason because I guess Jones want to be a scorer. He wanted the ball. They tried with Thomas. I guess he wanted the ball more. He wanted a bigger role in the offense. So they traded him to Denver. And I don't know where they traded Jones to. I think they packaged him up with Russell Westbrook or something. I don't know. But nevertheless, we just need a center that's going to come in and do center shit.
Let's see if y'all can do that. Y'all can get that, man. You already know what it is. There's a lot of news going down right now in the NBA. You got free agency coming up right off the heels, fresh off the draft. Everybody know Bronny James was picked. How does Bronny fit with a guy like what's the guy Dalton Connect? Obviously, these two guys are going to be paired together in summer league. How can Bronny James capitalize off of playing with a guy like him?
Well, I think Bronny James will. And looking, I'm trying to recall Connect Four basketball tendencies. I know he liked to hang out around the arc. He got a mid-range shot, and he's underrated in his athleticism, right? So I think Bronny James should be able to be more productive than he was at USC based on Connect Four presence on the floor because he's a floor spacer and he has an IQ level. We already know Bronny James have a high IQ level, right? We know he's a high processor. And Connect Four, I believe, is a high processor as well because he's one of the oldest that was in the draft. And he's a 5-year college attendee. So in every level, according to Rob Pelinka, every level, Connect Four, Dalton Connect, had excelled. And for him to come from JUCO, small college, to the SEC, Tennessee, a very well-known powerful college, it shows that he's not afraid to continue to elevate and change to be a better player. Bronny James have a lot to prove, right? Because his college career was very underwhelmingly based on the fact that he had the cardiac arrest, you know. So that was scary in itself. So just playing basketball, just getting back used to trusting your body and not playing with trepidation because of a health issue that could reoccur. So he played through that. He gained confidence. He felt good with his stamina, and he was able to trust his body enough to continue to pursue his dream as being an NBA player in an NBA uniform on the NBA floor. In the summer league, I think it's going to be explosive. Like Bronny James will have the advantage of playing with Connect Four, and Bronny James will be able to scour the 94 feet rectangular on defense as well as offense. And we're going to see a lot of athleticism coming from this 6'1" DNA extract from the King James himself on display in Summer League. In flight, I'm hoping I will be around in town. I hope my job won't take me too far away. I hope nobody asks me to go out the country with them, and I'll be around for Summer League because, man, do I want to see this show. Listen, I miss Zion Williamson Summer League. I missed his, right? LaMelo Ball didn't have a Summer League, right? But I did catch LiAngelo Ball. And if you think LiAngelo Ball Summer League was off the chain height, just imagine when Bronny James is announced on that floor in a Lakers Summer League uniform in the starting lineup. The crowd is going to go berserk. It's going to be mad crazy. And it's going to be something that we've never seen before. And when he makes his first basket, like LiAngelo, when LiAngelo made his first basket, the Summer League crowd erupted. It was, what's that, polygraphic flow. It was hot like lava. When Bronny James makes his first basket as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers Summer League team, they might have to call the fire department for like.
Yeah. You think it's going to be that real? I know the star power and the attendance is going to be crazy. I can only imagine all the people who are going to be courtside coming through, pulling up celebrities, players, former players, everything.
Yeah, we know Zoe. We already know what Zoe did in Summer League. That's why I didn't mention Zoe. I didn't mention Zoe because we know what he did in Summer League. So I think, and then you know what? I might get a chance to see Javonte Murray in Summer League because he's the newest Pelican. Zion Williamson might show up for the first time representing the Pelicans during Summer League. I think a lot of NBA players is going to come down and descend on Summer League because of the in-season tournament and the success that it drew, despite the naysayers, disbelievers, and downright haters of the in-season tournament, which I was not a part of. I welcome it. I enjoyed watching it. I said it's going to be a success. And I think players who were cynical of the Summer League, cynical of the in-season tournament, is going to be more apt of opening and optimistic when it comes Summer League representing their team. We already know Ja Morant, he loves going to Summer League. So you're going to see the Ja Morants of the world. You're going to see the now I don't know with Damian Lillard being a Milwaukee Bucks and not really happy there. I don't know if he's going to be there. I've never seen Giannis in Summer League. You're going to see the Jalen Greens in Summer League. You're definitely going to see Jalen Green in Summer League. Who else? You're going to see LaMelo Ball in Summer League. You're going to see Tyrese Halliburton in Summer League. And you might see Tyrese Maxey. I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be at Summer League. I've never seen him. But Tyrese Maxey bees at Summer League. And you're going to see De'Aaron Fox at Summer League. So you're going to see a lot of high-profile all-stars. You might see Jaylen Brown. I never seen Jason Tatum, but you might see Jaylen Brown at Summer League representing the Boston Celtics Summer League team because he was there before. I think when Peyton Pritchard played. So I mean, you're going to see a wealth of superstars in the NBA at Summer League representing their team this season, based on the proximity of Las Vegas, Nevada. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. We're gonna find out. We ain't too far away from summer league either. But we got to get the free agency first. I see a notification talking about the Suns. They extended Royce O'Neal, veteran forward, agrees to a 4-year, $44 million deal to return to Phoenix. So, what's going on with Phoenix? It seems like they at a crossroads right now. They don't know if they should rebuild. You hear in Houston coming up with this guy Kevin Durant. What the hell is going on in Phoenix?
well, as far as my understanding, I wish Purple Baby was here because she's really good at digging into the details of these teams outside of the teams I like. Phoenix is at a second apron. So Phoenix is on the verge of heavy sanction and punishment from that CBA agreement. So they're trying to juggle as much as they can to avoid, severe penalty. Even though the owner said he doesn't care about this apron stuff, he's going to spend to win. But I think he might be having a change of heart when he noticed a lot of teams will be sanctioned by this collective bargaining agreement. So Phoenix is one of those big heavyweight teams that has a soaring apron approach, and it could be inevitable that they hit that punishment line of the second apron. So Phoenix, I mean, they only 3 deep, right? Outside of that, I mean, who knows who's on Phoenix? Phoenix is 3 deep, and these 3 players are all too cool, calm, and collected players, right? Every now and then you get the dog coming out of Devin Booker. But KD is at the stage of his career. He can't go as hard as people might want him to because he's still clinging on to the last bit of his Achilles heel. He can't blow that again. If you blow it again, it's a wrap. And that would shorten his career. So KD is only going medium throttle, even though it's still at all-star level. That's how great of a basketball player he is. Devin Booker at times do go hard and sometimes go a little too hard and shoot them out the game. He can go John Stark on you in an instant, like instant oatmeal. And then you got Bradley Beal out there confused, bewildered, befuddled, not sure, when is this time to stop and go? Even though he's on a super absorbent contract, he still doesn't have the proper time clock ticking in his head and where he can insert himself or float away and do something other because Bradley Beal is not a defender. So Phoenix has a lot of confusion going on. I mean, let's keep it 100, right? Let's keep it a whole thing. If we want to keep it a whole thing about Phoenix flight, they're a ball of confusion.
You're right about that. And it's going to take a lot of winning to fix it. We're going to find out. I'm sitting here looking at some Mikal Bridges highlights, looking at what he's going to be bringing to the New York Knicks. This guy, Mikal Bridges, ain't nothing to mess with, man. So you better look out. Said Bobo don't got it. What's up? What you think about Bobo? Let's see.
Well, I think I gave a analogy on Bobo dealing with my brother, right? My brother's right above me, right? He's 1.5 years above me. And he was an exceptional athlete. Basketball, he had a nice jumper, nice layup package. He wasn't a dunker. Baseball, he had a gun for an arm, played third base, shortstop, and right field. Was a power hitter for his size. And in football, he was a linebacker. Good hard hitter. Played high school, baseball, basketball, and football, right? I always emulated him because he was my idol. Growing up, watching him play sports, I wanted to play just as good as he did or better, right? So my competition was playing against him. So what happened with him, they used to call him Hollywood because he used to play basketball in shades. He's a little thrown off. He became a gang member eventually. But in high school, he used to play basketball with shades, and they called him Hollywood. And in baseball, he was one of the play. Remember, he's older than me, so he was wearing shades in baseball, like the wraparound shades, before they became popular in the real NBL. He was wearing those because at one time they wouldn't let you do it. You just had to wear the makeup and let that flare up to block the sun. They wouldn't let you wear goggles and all that stuff because the ball comes too hard and it could shatter your goggles and cut your eye. You could sue. So he was good. He knew he was good. But the point that I'm comparing with him and Bol, he thought he was better than what he was. So at every corner of athleticism that he was a part of, he felt that he was being shortchanged. And this is what I think about Bol. Bol, with all of the gifts and attributes and traits that he displays on the NBA court, he thinks he's better than what the coaches are coaching for. And so therefore, Bol gets an attitude because he feels he's being shortchanged. He's watching a player like Victor Wembanyama do the exact same thing that he was doing at Oregon. Nothing different. He was already doing this at Oregon, playing alongside Peyton Pritchard, who beat Kentucky, De'Aaron Fox, in the Elite Eight. He was a part of that. So coming into the NBA, when he finally left college, he feels that what got him drafted. That's what made him Bull. He's different from his dad. He's not a statue to sit up in the paint or be some type of gimmick sideshow for the NBA promotion. He feels he's a real hooper, and he feels he can do the same thing Wembanyama can do, but yet he's not given the opportunity to do it because coaches have constricted his skill level to a certain optic. And Bull don't like it, so he has attitude. And so with that attitude, he becomes defiant, Flight. And that defiancy has rendered Bull less than. And that's what we're getting when we watch Bull.
Yeah, you're right about that, Dex. There's a lot of different things going on. We're gonna definitely find out. But what is there any other Laker updates that we got? Anything that we need to bring out to the people?
Well, you never talked about the Pelicans yourself. We talked about New York, the Lakers. We talked about Phoenix, but you didn't say how you felt about the new acquisition for the Pelicans.
Well, I did. Well, anybody that's not joining in, like I said, DeJounte Murray coming in there is all about health at the end of the day. If Zion Williamson is not healthy, this trade is really incomplete. But it definitely provides them another all-star to work out there in Atlanta for whatever reasons. But I think it's a lot more space. And also, they wanted a point guard, so I heard when they got eliminated, Brandon Ingram say it would help if we brought in a traditional point guard. I don't know if Murray's too traditional, but I think he's got a lot to prove, leaving Atlanta, because of that. It says, Flight, your thoughts on Jello? Hey, like I said, I want to see something with Jello going on the court, but I did see that episode. I'm waiting to see something with Leangelo. But let's see what happens. He's got a lot of hopes. I heard that he wanted to go do something with the G League, and let's see what's up with the Summer League. Let's see. These some of the updates I'm looking for.
Well, while you look for the update, I'm gonna speak on Jello having a second child. I guess Nikki Baby must got something good down there because Jello's just sleeping in it. This nigga don't want to pull out to save his life. But I'm quite sure his dad is elated for him to have multiple children. This gives LeVar something to do when it comes time for them to train. He have a whole new crop to train. I'm telling you, because you know LiAngelo is giving his kids over to LeVar. You can see that in him. He doesn't have no problem letting LeVar train his kids. And in flight, and talking about LeVar, shout out to LeVar Ball for opening up with his celebrity, the liaison to WWE. You can remember LeVar Ball and LaMelo Ball descending down on SmackDown and how hilarious it was. Even LaMelo Ball had a slip of words that became viral in that moment where LeVar Ball was center ring at SmackDown. So that brought some type of a unification and collaboration with the NBA. So LeVar just don't get enough credit for a lot of things that he have up started, and people have hitched on and continued in that framework of celebrity building bridges with other celebrities. So salute to LeVar for that, and Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton on SmackDown. You can imagine. I mean, just think about this, Rap God. You could imagine, right, Flight? Them watching LeVar Ball, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball wasn't even in. He wasn't. I don't think he was in the JBA at the time. I think he was still in high school at Chino Hills, coming off of that year, that year going into the summer, right? They probably was watching that and admiring what they were seeing with LaMelo Ball and his dad on SmackDown. And they probably said, if I ever had an opportunity to do that, I would do that. And lo and behold, they had the opportunity to do it with Tyrese Halliburton having an exceptional season, taking his team to the NBA Eastern Championship game, and Jalen Brunson powering the Knicks, a.k.a. the little engine who could, to a second round appearance facing the Indiana Pacers. So, I mean, that's wild and crazy. LiAngelo having another child from Nikki Baby, it just says a lot about Nikki Baby. That's all I can say. Did you see how LiAngelo was acting? This man couldn't stop cheesing. And who thought LiAngelo Ball was such a comedian, right? He's the funniest person on the stream. And he says a lot of funny things, and he doesn't even mean to be funny. It's just how it just comes out of his head. So you can imagine how things formulate in his head, and then he pressed the send button, and then it comes out, and then it's a gaffe for everybody. Everybody just fall out laughing because of the way LiAngelo Ball pontificate his experience being a Ball brother. And like I said, he has a lot of respect for his dad. You can see it. Lonzo is such a cool cat, man. I mean, he is so much cooler than he was when he was younger, right? Because when he was younger, he seemed like he's a little fragile, a little afraid, not risk-taking, very calculative, take the safe space at all measures, and didn't really try to have any rough edges or take sharp angles. Lonzo Ball right now, man, this guy is so cool. Allie Rose, ooh, boy, she's a baddie. I mean, a slim goodie at its finest. I didn't know that girl was that fine. So shout out to Lonzo. And she said she want Lonzo to touch her even more. She said Lonzo don't touch her enough. And then Lonzo said, well, you know, it's the way I grew up. You know, he grew up kind of, you know, a little bit hard because he was the first brother and he had to look out for his other brothers. So his compassion is a little different from maybe some average guy that's in the NBA that didn't have to chaperone and take care of his brothers at every point. Because LeVar Ball left Lonzo in charge, as you have known throughout the years, that LeVar Ball said that, you know, it's me, Tina, and Zoe. Follow what I'm saying? That's the hierarchy of the Ball family. So Lonzo was so cool and collective, and Lonzo really enjoyed watching Jello be open. Because out of all the Ball brothers, Jello seemed to be the most reserved, right? Lonzo and Melo constantly go at each other and joke with each other. So they have always been open when you watch Ball in the Family. But LiAngelo kind of was reserved. He looked like he was a protector. You know, he's an in-between brother. He got to look out for LaMelo, and he got Lonzo back. So seeing Jello just open up, being so relaxed, and he's a dad, he's so elated and vibrant. I'm saying, listen, I never watched the full episode of The Way Show. I just always see it off of their stories. But I finally watched the fullness of it only because they mentioned Tina Ball. So the topic of discussion was about Tina Ball. And so I wanted to hear how they felt about their mom, especially about their mom being Caucasian, you know, and they raised up black. We know they raised up black. So I wanted to hear how they felt growing up. And Jello used to always try to shake off his mom's tenderness. I thought that was hilarious when he said, "Okay, mom, I got it. You know, I got to get a whooping. Okay, cool. Let me process this." I thought that was hilarious in itself. And Lonzo, you know, how he felt about the tenderness of his mom, which we have never really heard from Lonzo in that aspect. So I thought that episode, that last episode, the only episode I ever watched, was spectacular in displaying the Ball brothers' emotions towards their mom. We already know how they feel about the dad and their connection with the dad, but we rarely heard the mom connection. And I don't know if y'all got where Lonzo talked about how his mom used to go ballistic in the stands. And LeVar, out of all people, the big baller himself, used to say, "Chill, Tina." LeVar telling someone to chill? Are you kidding me? You can't make this up. I was just flabbergasted and jaw-dropping laughter watching that show. And I don't even think they were trying to be funny. They were just expressing themselves. And the way that they expressed themselves on certain topics and segment of that stream had me floored. I was like, man, this is a crazy stream for the Ball brothers. And I love the way they was transparent in a lot of some of the personal stuff that they have been engaged in.
Yeah, so you definitely are high on this whole podcast. How do you feel like this could benefit a guy like Jello? Obviously Lonzo as well, you know, because they are jumping into the podcasting game, you know, that I think is very populated with a lot of former players, current players. It's crazy. What's their place in all of this? And what's the ultimate goal?
So with Jello, I mean, he's constantly being seen, but he's not being seen on the court. I think this Way podcast is going to go to the gym. It's going to get to the gym. Just watch. You heard it first on Flight Sports TV. The Way podcast is going to the gym. I don't know if it's the Big Baller Gym on the estate when they finish that roof, because that's what I think that they're missing, the completion of the roof, is going to go into that gym, and we're going to see them brothers putting up shots while they doing the podcast, and Demo and Anthony Salazar promoting what they're doing with oohs and ahs. That's what I think this is going. I think it's going to get to a point where Lonzo and Jello go at each other on the podcast, and then they call for a one-on-one and take it to the gym. I just think this is where it's going. You heard it first at Flight Sports TV. So they gradually taking us there, and they probably will have their girls, Allie Rose and Nikki Baby, sitting in the stands cheering on their significant other. So if they was to take this idea, if they don't have it, take it and run with it. Trust me, I'm not going to charge you for any creational property creation or whatever they call it, right? Take it and run with it. Lead up to an episode where you and Jello go at it for stats, because we already know what Jello did in high school. We know what Lonzo did in high school, right? One of the only point guards to average a triple-double in high school. And we know LiAngelo was two-time California scoring champ. Combat each other on statistics, and then challenge each other on a one-on-one and put it on the podcast. Not like a serious one-on-one, but you know how we do one-on-one when we out with our partners, you know what I'm saying? What you think, okay, first one to 5, first one to 10. And I think that will be something very genuine if they was the lead that podcasted that, and it will probably be the largest viewed podcast in that podcast history.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's definitely interesting. Listen, there's a lot more basketball to discuss, Dex. I say we pull back up later on tonight and see what's going on. If any more fireworks have popped off, you know. But like I said, unless you want to just discuss more basketball, you don't got to end it. If it's up to you. But you want to stick around?
Well, you can stick around for just a little
Nah,
bit because there's some questions in the
stick
chat.
around.
Please subscribe
Hang
to
on.
Flight Sports TV. Hit
You
the
good,
like
you
button
good.
and leave a comment.
What was a few things in the chat that I seen, but we kind of overlooked it. One was from Dre. If he's still here, he's talked about Ant-Man. Where's it at? Okay. Did you see that one, Flight? Could you read that? Oh, Flight is off right now. Yeah, Dre spoke about Ant-Man. Dre is an Ant-Man fan, and there's nothing wrong with being an Ant-Man fan right now because Ant-Man is soaring high. He has reached a level of popularity that they comparing him to Michael Jordan and his features as a possible link to be Michael Jordan's son. And with that, Ant-Man was 7th in MVP voting this past year. Dre is correct on that. Ant-Man winning MVP next year. I don't know if Ant-Man will win MVP next year. Is because you still have Luka, right? You still going to have a healthy Joel Embiid. You're going to have a petty Giannis Antetokounmpo coming back trying to prove himself and the fans. Because you know he don't like to be left out of attention, Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? And then you're going to have Shea, a newcomer to this madness, this rat race of MVP contenders. And normally you're only going to have one newcomer. They're not going to fill the MVP race with a bunch of newcomers. So right now, Shea is at the top of the heap as the newcomer. And then you're going to have Nikola Jokic to cap it off at the first 5. Right? All familiar faces in familiar places with one newcomer, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the kid up north, 6 God from Canada. Now, the Jason Tatums of the world, the Jaylen Browns of the world, the Anthony Davis of the world, the Ant-Man of the world, the Jalen Bronsons of the world, they will be at the bottom tier of that top 10 competition. So Ant-Man will have to do a whole lot, Dre, in order for him to crack that top 5. Because you expecting one of those top 5s to fall off. And I'm on the opposite side of what you're saying, because I think those top 5s I just named is going to be going hard, unless injury. Because if it wasn't for injury, the behemoth, the monstrosity of a human being, Joel Embiid, would have won running away with the MVP. Despite the numbers that Luka put across the board, despite the numbers of Shea putting across the board, Joel Embiid had that second MVP, hands down, if he didn't get injured going into the last leg of the regular season. So that's going to be something to look out for. If Anthony Edwards could ascend even higher with the roster construction of the Minnesota Timberwolves, in order for him to reach the pinnacle of solo accolades as being the MVP of the NBA. Oh, I forgot. Thank you, Rap God. John Morant. Dre. John Morant is making his return. And he's going to be a hell of a gun. No pun intended. John Morant going to be a hell of a gun. No pun intended. Coming into the season. Remember when Ja came off of his suspension? And the way he put Memphis Grizzlies on his back before he got injured was miraculous. And I feel that Ja Morant, thanks to Rap God putting us back up on Ja Morant, because, out of sight, out of mind, it tends to happen. It's just a human trait. No hate on Ja Morant. No disregard, no slight on Ja Morant. But Memphis is going to be something to reckon with. And something is going to have to change as the jostling of teams in and out of the top 10 of the extended season picture will continue when Memphis return with their full and healthy roster. So that's another thing you have to look for also, Drake, coming into the season, that Ja Morant is looking to put his name back where it belongs, in the top 10 as impactful players amongst their team. And if he remains healthy, we already know Ja Morant is a human highlight. Nobody can take that from him. And I'm not saying that because I met him. I'm saying that because it's a reality. And when Ja Morant is on the scene, guess what Zion's going to be doing? He's going to be eyeing his comrade and counterpartner from South Carolina. Zion will be eyeing Ja Morant. And we already know all of the kerfuffle surrounding the draft of 2018, where Ja Morant and Zion Williamson 1 and 2, all the talks about who should have went number 1. So there's a lot to hang there, Dre, about Anthony Edwards. I know you're a solid Anthony Edwards fan, and a lot of us are Anthony Edwards fans as well. We only part because of competition with LaMelo Ball, but other than that, Ant-Man is the man. And he deserves every inch of support that he gets, because Ant-Man put in the work. Unfortunately, he admitted that he was tired in that Dallas Mavericks series, and they took advantage of his fatigue. Hopefully, he gets himself in shape, since he's love football, get in football shape to play basketball. And Anthony Edwards can remain or even ascend higher on that ladder of ranked players in the NBA to increase the odds of Anthony Edwards becoming an MVP candidate. Zach Edey is already a star. Rap God. That remains to be seen. But one thing I can tell you, watching Zach Edey in March Madness, because I did watch him in March Madness, shout out to Purdue. Watching Zach Edey in that March Madness, I didn't realize he was as good of a player that he is. Even though prior, he won Player of the Year for college, not Brandon Miller. It was Zach Edey. And he's a 2-time Player of the Year. So that's hard to do, to be a 2-time Player of the Year in college, with all of the new talent coming into the college ranks, where it's over 400 G1 schools that qualify to be Player of the Year. I think that will translate, because out is Steven Adams, in comes Zach Edey. All he and he's taller than Steven Adams. All Zach Edey has to do is replicate the motion and the wave of Steven Adams, and he will be a success. Because Zach Edey can finish around the rim where Steven Adams struggled. So that is an attraction in itself and will garner the eyes of the opposing team to try to cut off that eating of Zach Edey. Because you don't want the rookie to come in and start eating immediately. And with Ja Morant, I believe Xavier Tillman, and the rest of them, Desmond Bain, you got a lot of floor spacers. Ja Morant has improved on his shooting. So you got a lot of floor spacers in Memphis, and where Zach Edey can sit and spread a table and eat his breakfast. So we're going to see how Memphis schemed Zach Edey into a successful situation and go from there. So don't forget about Memphis. They're on the rise. And I think Memphis might try to pick up something in the free agency market as well. We'll see how that goes. Don't let them get Brandon Ingram. Don't let Memphis get Brandon Ingram. I think it's a door of opportunity for Memphis to grab Brandon Ingram, because Brandon Ingram can play the 3 or the 4. He'll be a small 4, but he will be so devastating that no other 4 can deal with. And so you can swap his size for his optimization of offense against any 4 in the league. Maybe except LeBron. Or Anthony Davis. No, I think he can work Anthony Davis. I think he can work Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis was to play the 4, I think Brandon Ingram could work him. He can take him out in space, dance in the garden, and work Anthony Davis. But I don't think too much of LeBron, because LeBron is a brute. And LeBron gonna put his shoulder into him, where Anthony Davis is too much of a finesse. So I don't think there's too much of a far stretch to say that if he's not acquired by the Miami Heat, then maybe there could be some juggling for BI on Memphis. That just remained to be seen. I haven't heard anything there, but that's where most things happen where you don't hear from. When you hear the talk, mostly that's just talk. It's trying to convince the narrative through the public that this guy is interested in their team, but that might not never be the case. So Memphis is looking to make something, and to bring Brandon Ingram in as a cog in the wheel. I think that could be an auspicious situation for the for the Memphis Grizzlies down there at the Target Center on Beale Street. Walking on Beale Street. I don't think y'all hip to that, right? Y'all hip to walking on Beale Street. But yeah, Beale Street, yeah, I've been there, done that, rode in the horse and carriage. Beale Street is very entertaining. It's not even that large, but the section that is full of entertaining, it's entertaining. You got music of all genre blasting from bars and pubs. So yeah, Memphis is cool right there on Beale Street. The police is everywhere, so you're secure. And I was surprised Memphis had so many black police officers. You know, that's a southern state, right? It's a Bible Belt. As soon as you cross over Arkansas, you got Memphis, Tennessee. And those black police officers, I know they got in trouble beating and killing that one guy, but when I was in Memphis, they were so chill. It was like a mini Vegas. You could walk with your drinks and just do anything and, pass out on the damn street if you want to. All they're gonna do is come, scoop you up, call for the medical service, and send you on your way. I ain't seen not one person get arrested, and everybody was piss poor drunk besides me. Not one person get arrested. They had street shows, like if you go to Vegas and on Fremont Street, they had a lot of street entertainment, and which was fantastic to see. Many different races and cultures just descended on Bill Street, and it was something fabulous to see. So big ups to Memphis as far as the entertainment down there on Bill Street. And don't talk about the barbecue. You got right beyond Bill Street, you got the African American Civil Rights Museum, which I visit, and it shows you where Martin Luther King got shot at the the Tangerine Hotel. And then you got Restaurant Row all through Memphis. And one of my favorite restaurants to visit in Memphis is called Rendezvous. Ooh, finger looking good, Rendezvous. You know, so Memphis is one of the, besides Kansas, is one of the largest barbecue places in America. You know, you got Memphis, I think it's North Carolina, Kansas, Texas, and there's one more. I can't think of right offhand. It's one more. I don't think it's not Oklahoma. I can't think of it right now. As far as barbecue. And man, oh man, do they have good barbecue down there? I mean, the barbecue so good, you biting off your own fingers, thinking it's part of the meat because of the sauce that dripped on it. So, like I said, there's nothing that happened in free agency. Free agency is at a stalemate right now. There's no real big movement. But we all know that Klay Thompson and Chris Paul are still out there. We know Paul George is still out there. So the last real transaction, small as it may be, is Royce O'Neal intends to sign a new 4-year, $44 million deal to return to the Phoenix Suns. That is the last bit of movement in free agency, and that happened at 1:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the biggest free agency since the acquisition of, who was that? Mikal Bridges. The biggest free agency news outside of LeBron, of course, but that was an opt-out, opt-in situation. But as far as movement, since Mikal Bridges was Javonte Murray. It's Dejounte Murray. And Sadiq Bey, he will be leaving the Atlanta Hawks. We'll see who wants him. He's 28 years old. We'll see if he's won anything. So the Atlanta Hawks will not deliver a qualifying offer to Sadiq Bey, clearing way for him to become an unrestricted free agency. And this source is told by ESPN Wojnarowski that the 28-year-old forward, averaging 13.7 points and 6.5 rebounds before suffering a torn left ACL in late March, he's expected to make a full recovery. And let's see what teams will pick him up for their services.
This is Holly Heat of the Hot Seat with Holly Heat, and this is Flight Sports TV.
Everybody, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's keep this thing moving and place it in the algorithms of YouTube. And hit that notification bell so you won't miss one iota of an exuberant experience. You don't want to miss one iota of an exuberant experience. You don't want to miss one iota of an exuberant experience. So there's going to be a lot unfolding in the free agency motion. And here at Flight Sports TV, there's going to be a lot unpacking the unfolding of the free agency movement. So get on board, stay on board, and then engage while you're here. So your remarks, your comments, good, bad, up or down, here or there, will be printed and recorded in our chat, which is one of the livest chats in YouTube, arguably the best, because there's no restriction here. We ain't trying to be demigods or dictators telling you what to focus on. You play at your own risk in Flight Sports TV chat. Some people want more control of their stream. Only thing we want control of is the respectability of and accountability of not violating the stream where you put us at risk with YouTube. We want to stay in the green. We don't mind flirting with the yellow, but never the red, because this is a monetized channel. If we wasn't monetized, you already know how hard we go. Before Flight Sports TV got monetized, you already know how hard we go in the paint, baby.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Freeway Ricky Ross, and you looking at Flight Sports TV. Don't turn that channel.
And I want to say congratulations to my homie, Freeway Rick. He don't get enough credit for the things he do, as he swelled in the ground roots work with our people, youth, and adults. On his second, not first, but second appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, JRE. He had his second appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, and not often do people get second appearance on Joe Rogan. So you have to be very interesting, intriguing, and charismatic in order for Joe Rogan to invite you back for a second time on that major platform. So big ups to Freeway Rick. Kid Austin, one more thing. Kid Austin's fight has been delayed, and they're working on a new date for Kid Austin. So stay tuned for Kid Austin and watch Flight drop new information in his treasure trove of the vault of Flight Sports TV video catalog. So on that note, I can say,
Flight Sports TV.